Oh, okay.
There you
I
go.
think we're on. Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hey,
So, hope everybody's doing well.
happy Tuesday.
Yep. Happy Tuesday. It's not Monday. It's Tuesday. Normally we are on Mondays, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I hope everybody can see us, right? I hope it says we're live. Okay. There. Now it's showing.
It says live. Yeah.
Yeah. So anywho, so I'd like to welcome everybody. Thank you. T. Lynn's here. Blue Diamond, Jen Bowles, hi sis, Bora Bora, Jinx, a light worker. If I say anybody again, sorry. So okay, good. They see us. Okay, so we're here.
Yay.
So yes, so we had quite an adventure over the last. Hi Rossi, welcome.
Hey,
Thank
Rossi.
you. We could. Do you want? Hi Gatekeeper. Wait a minute. See if more people come in too. I guess. If you want to wait a couple minutes. So, Heavenly Blessed Honey. Hi, Akila.
Hey there. Hey, Heavenly Blessed Honey. I have it's really hard for me to think of you as Heavenly Blessed
Heavenly Blessed Honey, I know.
You're going to like this show. So I have a cat ball, and I can't show it to you, but the cat ball keeps going off. And that means that there's a spirit here, and it's the spirit of my husband, I think. And it keeps going off, and it's just like freaking me out, but in a nice way.
That's good. Yeah, I have.
Do y'all know what a cat ball is?
Yeah, I have some of them behind me. These are cat balls. So you can set them if you don't know what they are. They're like this.
Yeah, Marianne from
right, and you turn them on.
Yeah.
And then when you put them down, they go off, and they'll go on if a spirit's around or if you touch them. Yeah. So if you guys see anything going back by that TV over there,
yeah,
I have some cat balls set up there. Let me know.
I love my cat balls, but it'll freak me out if it goes off in the middle of the night.
Mine did that last night. Yep. I know it does freak you out at first. You're like totally startled. You'll be sitting there, the room's all dark, and all the cat balls go off.
And you can talk to a cat ball. You can say, "Is this so and so?" And then if it goes off again, that's yes. And if it doesn't go off again, then that's a no. So you can ask all kinds of questions, but they have to be yes or no questions.
Right. And sometimes it does take a second. Like my mom and grandma visited me last night and this morning, so it was startling at first because I'm not used to them going off. Generally.
Did Sam get one?
Yes, she did.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. She actually, because I ended up ordering some then. So I gave her the ones you gave her. And then I gave her a couple. So, but yeah, so I went on vacation and visited Jennie. I put my house up for sale, as everybody knows. And I took all this stuff that we had to do to the house. I accumulated quite some airline miles. So I cashed them in and got myself a ticket, first class ticket to, which I've never done before in my life. And it was a great experience going. I mean, I've always flown like in practically the trunk of the airplane. So this was my first time, and it was real nice. So I highly recommend it if ever possible to do that. And but anywho, it was an interesting flight. I'll just tell you a little bit. I get to my airport, and the first thing I see is a dime on the floor, and Roosevelt was up. And if anybody, most of you know about Henry, and he was a Tuskegee Airman. He was a past life of mine. And there's a connection to Eleanor Roosevelt, and she's something I admire. So for me, looking down right when I'm going up to the ticket counter and seeing a Roosevelt dime, I was like, okay, thank you, Henry. I know you're here, right? And then the one trip I got was going over DC, and I flew right over Arlington Cemetery, which I thought was real cool. And this is the weird part. I had 4 flights because I had to connect. I mean, because heaven forbid you get a direct flight these days, right? From Cleveland to Jennie's. And on the first leg of the flight, I get there and no one was sitting next to me, but the flight attendant was a Black gentleman, which it's no big deal. I mean, that was not a big deal, but this plays into the rest of the story. So my second flight, I go in, and I sit next to another Black man who is a Boeing executive. And he was super friendly and super nice. And that was just weird that a Boeing executive, and I'm sitting there, and it was funny. We talked, and I'm like, I go, Boeing, he's like, yeah. And he goes, yeah, I like to fly, and I like to let people know I'm not afraid. I go, yeah, except you're flying
he had
on
the Boeing
Airbus.
shirt on.
He had a Boeing shirt on. So I thought that was really funny. And then on the way back, I get in my seat. A Black man sits next to me again. On the next flight, another Black man sat next to me. Not women, not a Black woman, not a white woman, not a white man. I had a Black man every single time.
It was like Henry was like putting them right beside her, right, to say, I'm here with you.
Exactly. I mean, I've flown plenty before, and usually when you go through all these flights, you get a hodgepodge of people next to you. You don't get the same type of person every single time in 4 flights.
Yeah.
So
Henry definitely did that.
Right. Henry was so there the whole time that it was just, amazing. Hi, Linda. Linda De Gonzalez is here too.
Hey, Linda.
So that to me was so amazing. He was like telling me he was with me the whole time. So I knew he was with me the whole time. And that to me was just so, I was just floored. And then wasn't it the first night I was there? We were sitting out on the roof of your apartment. Mm-hmm. And I look up and there is this huge rainbow, like one of the most brilliant rainbows I've ever seen in my life. It was beautiful. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is like too much. It was like so overwhelming between, the dime, and then I didn't even have the 2 trips home, which that part of it was a nightmare though, let me tell you. And my flight got delayed and it was just whatever. But anywho, yeah, so we had that, and then we went and we visited. Do you want to take this one now?
Okay, so she arrives in Charleston, and Cheri, so she was staying 9 days. We've never met each other in person ever, but we do feel like we're family. Mm-hmm. So I pull up to the curb of the airport, and she comes outside, and I feel like I'm just going to start sobbing. I'm like trying not to sob. I'm like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. And I really felt like, oh my God, here's this person that's my family that I've longed for my whole life. That's what I felt like. Mm-hmm. It was just amazing.
It was like we always knew each other. Like I was so comfortable. Like it was the strangest and most comfortable feeling ever. It was like I felt instantly at home. Like she didn't feel like a stranger at all. It was just so, yeah. It was awesome.
So maybe some people don't know that we found out that we were sisters during the Civil War, and we lived in Savannah. Mm-hmm. And our father was white and my mother was white, but Cheri's mother was Black, mm-hmm. but really, really beautiful. Yeah. And so Cheri and I lived in the same house during the Civil War, and the father, he lived out on the plantation, and he didn't bother us. And so her mother was in the house, and her mother and my mother were really good friends. And Cheri and I got away with a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff. So
you got away with murder.
Yeah, pretty much.
We could have put it that way.
We got away with a lot of stuff. So, so she's here, and tell them about what you saw when we were driving down King Street. I was driving down King Street, and you looked around the corner, and what did you see?
I looked around the corner, and I see a carriage, a horse-drawn, and there's no horse-drawn carriages there.
An
old horse-drawn carriage.
The past.
And like the street was totally in the past, and the cobblestones and I had to do a double take. It like knocked me for a loop. I was like, oh my gosh, it was so, I can't even describe it. And it was like when we got to Savannah, the heavy.
This was in Charleston though.
This was Charleston. Yeah.
So how did you feel when you were in Charleston? Like as far as
it was really strange. When I got to Charleston, I always felt like when I left Cleveland, I'd always feel so connected to here. And when I got in Charleston, I felt absolutely no connection to Northeast Ohio. None. I felt so at home. I'm like, I could live here and not a problem. Like I felt like I fit right in down there. It was just such a comfortable feeling for me. Like I almost felt more at home there than I do here. And I always felt I always felt so connected to here and the water of the Great Lakes. But down there, I felt so connected. It really kind of blew my mind at the connection I felt down there.
This was in Charleston, and everybody she met, they all loved her. They all absolutely loved her. She'd go downstairs, and in the morning, I'd get a cup of coffee and talk to everybody, and they're going, "Who is that?" Like, she just slid right into being part of the community, I guess you'd say.
I did. And, I would go out and in the morning before Jenny got up, if I got up earlier, and I had no problem. Like I felt totally comfortable walking out there, going all over, looking at everything. It felt so home. It was really amazing. And I felt like, yeah, like I could totally see myself going down there someday and living down there at least part of the time.
So I tried to take her to as many places as possible, but it was like 93 degrees. So we couldn't do everything that we wanted to do, but like we got to go to the beach and we ate on a pier and looked at, so she got to see the ocean. We didn't get in the ocean, but she got to see it. And then she got to see the rivers, and we went to marinas, and I drove her around. And so she's got to see, the old houses, but it was so hot that it was almost, and we sat in the pool, but it was so hot that we had to dial back what we were doing.
We did. We couldn't do as much. I'm going to go back down there after my house sells.
And I can't wait till she comes back.
So I'm going back in the fall, and we're going to hopefully do the things we didn't do when we were there. But we did do the water taxi. We saw the Yorktown, and we went kind of past Fort Sumter, and and went towards where they auctioned the slaves off. She showed me that, and
we went to the slave market. It's not where
slave market.
That's where the slaves used to go to buy produce.
Right. But that other place you showed me where they used to sell that, which is, wondrous part of our history.
We didn't get to do as much as we would have liked, but like I said, being 93 degrees, you can't be there forever. But then we drove to Savannah.
And
I have been going to Savannah since I was 14 years old. And every time I go to Savannah, you have to go over this tall bridge. And back in the day, it was still a tall bridge, but it was an old bridge. And I always knew that on the other side of that bridge, there was fun. I would get so excited. And even through my whole life, if I was coming from Atlanta to Savannah, we would always go there, stop there on the way to Hilton Head. And I'd get to Savannah and I wouldn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave. I never wanted to leave. I was like, just leave me here. Please leave me here. And then I would walk around and go, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I was obnoxious. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. So, what is that all about? But then, so I knew that what the house looked like that Cheri and I used to live in, but I never looked for it. But also, I always stayed I like to stay in the same hotel, and I say, I just feel at home here. So you go to Owens Thomas house and the other house.
You want me to tell that story?
Yeah.
We went to
the tour.
Right. So we wanted to go see the Owens Thomas house, because when I had seen the Owens Thomas house and they had shown the slave quarters, and this has never happened to me, like over like the internet, I literally couldn't breathe. Like it took my breath away. I was so overwhelmed with emotion that I knew I had to go there. So when I got to Savannah, though, I felt the heaviness of it. I felt heavy. It's hard to describe it. It just felt heavy. And we're walking up towards, and when the hotel that we stayed at was in walking distance of the Owen Thomas house. And so we're walking up there, and I am just overcome with emotion. Like I can't even describe, like I'd never felt that way. I was like, my eyes are welling, and I just got, part of me was just like this overwhelming sadness, and I just knew it. And then this overwhelming, like, I don't want to say hatred, but it was like the callousness, I knew how callous the owner, like I could feel the callousness, and I could feel the despair of the enslaved people and the callousness of the owners. Like I felt it, and it was like all these emotions are just going through me. It was just so overwhelming. I've not quite ever really felt anything like that in my life.
So the Owens Thomas House is a house that is run by a museum in Savannah, and it's the same as it was back then. And the slave quarters are intact, and they take people on tours to see how the slaves lived. They talk about how the slave lived. They talk about they show like how was it to serve somebody in the dining room, and then they show so they give you a glimpse of what it was like to be the horribly rich person, and then what it was like to be the servants, the slaves.
Right. And
it's important to see, but it's hard to see.
Exactly. It is, because I had this screen sharing before. Let me see if I can get to it. There we go. So this, if you could see it, this is the slave quarters. Okay. So and they're intact to how they looked before. So that's how the slave quarters looked.
And then they still had the same wood beams in the top.
Right.
And my brother had a house in Virginia, in southwestern Virginia, in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and part of his house was built before the Civil War. And I know what those planks look like. I know what that wood looks like, and that's exactly what it looked like.
Right. So this is where they slept and ate. In contrast to the house, in the house, this is where they ate. So you can see that, what that's like in the house. So that's where they ate.
Slave quarters, there was lots of them. They didn't really have beds. They were all like jumbled together. I mean, it was really
right. And this is the girls' room. So this is where the girls would have slept. So this is the contrast of the difference. Now their nanny, like they told us, would have slept on the floor with them, like on a bedroll. But that's what that looked like. And that's so, and then this is where the slave, that is the contrast of the difference. So you have this, and you can look out the windows, like these front windows, and you can see the back of the house.
But there were, so this makes it look like there's nobody there, but
right.
But those rooms were full of like 30 people.
Right. There was and then this is the back of the house. So this is what they would have seen as they looked out their window. They would have saw this.
Except that there was no greenery. There was no.
It would have been a dirt
yard full of chickens and stuff.
Right. And I think, what is this? Oh yeah. So that's the Owen Thomas house.
Yeah. The Owens Thomas house. And those people were extremely wealthy.
Right. And then
pretty much the wealthiest of the wealthy.
Right. And then we're looking there, and Jenny's like, oh, well, here's the rainbow I saw on the first night too. So I put that up there. So that was the rainbow I saw. Isn't the colors, like I've never seen such like the blues and the purples.
It was very vibrant.
It was very, very vibrant. The most vibrant.
I like it going through the clouds too.
Right. It was amazing. So that was the rainbow. But so anyways, so we come out of the Owens house, and it was emotional, and we're just like all, yeah. It's like you can't even describe. So we're walking there and we're talking about the house. And Jenny said, well, it's the White House with this and this. And we're standing on the square.
We used to live in. It was a White House with the wraparound porch.
Right. And I just picked up my arm, and I went, you mean like that one?
No, you said, there it is.
Oh yeah, there it is. Something like that.
There it is. I'm like, oh shit.
And that's the house.
We went over to it. So we came from the front direction. And then, of course, the trucks weren't there. And then we went. Right. So the first floor it's not the basement, because there was a basement underneath that. But we went up to that. We looked in those windows and everything, and we were like peeking in, and we were like, yeah, this is it. And Cheri, tell them how you felt like the house had a bright light on it as opposed to any other houses.
Right. It was almost like it was illuminated. It was really weird. And then, like it just like, I don't know, like it would just like popped out in front of me. And so when you if you stay on, like if you were standing on the porch here in the front of this house and you just kind of look catty corner, there's the Owen Thomas house. That explains the overwhelming emotion I had with the Owen Thomas house.
In the same square,
In
which
the
would have
same
been
square.
dirt. But that means that the slaves in this house knew the slaves in that house, and the slave owners in this house knew the slave owners in the Owen Thomas house.
Right. So no doubt I was close to the enslaved people of the Owen Thomas house.
Right.
And then when we're standing in the hotel that we stayed at and we're looking out, I'm like, Jennie,
we're on the rooftop. We're on the roof.
We're on the rooftop. And I go, Jennie,
I say, I feel like I'm home here.
Right.
Which is like right down the street, like maybe 2 blocks.
Right. We didn't even she didn't even realize like how close it was until I said, there's the house. And she goes, no, it's not. And I'm like, yes, it is. No. So we have this yes, no thing. And so I asked the person there, I'm like, okay,
what's around?
Right. So we figured out, and sure enough, so if you look on the roof and if you go right there where my arrow is, that is the house from the roof of the hotel we stayed at.
Right.
And then there's the back of the house. That's the back of the house from the hotel. That's why she always wanted to stay at that hotel.
And I always felt so home there. I didn't want to go up. I didn't want to stay in any hotel up near the river. I don't want to stay. I mean, there's all kinds of hotels, and I used to work for hotels, so I could have stayed pretty much anywhere I wanted to. And I'm like, I want to be here because I felt like I was at home. And there's also on the other side of that house,
there's a
carriage house. Street, there's a cemetery.
Oh,
and that is a very old cemetery, and it has a lot of they just bodies into there during a lot of people died during the fire of 1820, but I don't know whether they had bodies or not. Sorry people.
I kind of it disconnected.
Okay. So, when I started talking about the cemetery.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. They might have heard it. I disconnected myself.
So anyway, I would never go in that cemetery. I love cemeteries. I go to cemeteries all the time. I love cemeteries. I would never go into that cemetery. And there's a lot of what do you call it? Mass graves. There's mass graves there. So I would never go there. But I tried to buy a condominium, which is in an old building right across the street, which was right beside the house. I tried to buy a place right beside the house. And unfortunately, my husband said, oh, no, this is too old a building. I'm like, no, I wanted to buy it to rent it out to students of SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design. And I thought it was a no-brainer. But anyway, I have so much history in my lifetime there, but it all like sucked me into where we used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it was a hard life, but it was Cheri and I had a happy life. Right.
We did. As hard as it was happy, and it was good, and it was fulfilling, and it was, being a part of the Underground Railroad and moving people through the basement of the house.
We were part of the Underground Railroad.
We were part of the Underground Railroad, and we did, in fact, with Linda Day Gonzalez helped us. We kind of did a little,
I knew what it was before.
She knew what it was. And then when we met with Linda, she helped us like go even farther into it. And I got this vision of being in the basement, like you had to crawl through, and I'm plaiting someone's hair, and I'm like telling them, and I could see me in a blue dress, and I was there, and this guy is over watching, and I'm like, okay, and like you moved them through so fast. It's like, okay, I can only say this once, and I'm plaiting the hair, and I'm like, you have to do this. You know how important it is. Okay, repeat it. ... It's almost like, and then you almost like throw them out that night. It's like,
Cheri plaiting the hair. They plaited the hair, and those were maps to where to go. They were maps. So
right, and I'm standing there, and it's like I had almost like some type of lard or grease or something in my hand, and then I have a pointed thing so I could part and move the hair the way I wanted it to go, and kind of just move it all around. And I'm moving this woman's hair around and telling the man that she's with to pay attention, that you have to follow the map that I'm putting in her hair and how to do it. And yeah, the cornrow map. So I'm doing that and explaining to them, how to go. And it's weird because I could literally see like they almost had to boost themselves up and go through this hole in the wall to go up and out underneath.
And then there were tunnels. So there were
Right.
tunnels underneath Savannah. There were lots of tunnels. They'd closed all the tunnels and they'd actually hidden them. So I tried to take Cheri to one that I knew that was beside a hotel that used to be a funeral home. And when I saw it, it was a grate, but it was the start of a tunnel from the funeral home into Forsyth Park. And they had covered it up and made it look all beautiful. And I'm like, there it is. But there's so many tunnels under that city. And they would go, I believe that they would go from under the house through a tunnel to the river. And then from the river, they would get on a rowboat or something and row up to like up the coast. So even Hilton Head Island was part of the Underground Railroad. So I'm pretty sure that they would go up there, because if you were in Savannah and you had all these rivers, that would be the best way to get out. But a lot of slaves did go to Florida. They walked to Florida and they went through the Okefenokee Swamp.
Yeah, and then there's the Combahee River.
I can't see it.
Where Harriet Tubman did that thing, and where they did rescue a lot of people, and I know a lot of people will go out that way too, and through the swamps and all that.
Harriet Tubman did a lot of rescues of slaves, and she has been to Hilton Head Island many, many times. And nobody knows this. Like, unless you go to Hilton Head and you study the history, nobody knows it.
Right. Yeah, but it was really weird. It's like, I mean, all this stuff seems so natural to me, like about the plaiting of the hair and all this, and just like, it's almost like I swear if I had the things, I could do it. And I've never done it in my life.
It's almost like Cheri has half the puzzle and I have the other half.
Right.
And maybe Linda De Gonzalez has the third.
Yeah, we'll have to consult her.
She has a third of it, I think. So she has a third, I have a third, you have a third. Because what Cheri has and what I have are like two different things, but they fit right together.
Right. Yeah. And it was really, and then we're not quite sure. We have some theories about what happened. We haven't really had the time to totally delve into some of our life as it went later on.
Yeah.
We have bits and pieces.
So this is my theory. I thought that I died during the Civil War I decided not to eat because my heart was kind of broken. But then Cheri, I think that she made it to the north. And I'm like starting to cry. So I know you made it. And Cheri was quite beautiful. And I think that she passed as white. I mean, that's just my opinion. That's my theory.
She thinks, right.
Her mother was quite beautiful and she was quite beautiful. And I would give her all my clothes and dress her, like a white person. And I'm pretty sure that she passed as a white person and got away. Or maybe even after, but I think she went north on the train.
Yeah, she thinks that my mom and everybody made me go north so I'd have a better life.
Yeah. Yeah. And your mom stayed behind with my mom.
Right. They stayed together. And I think that they stayed together for life and died together. And I think they were best friends. And they were, I think as time went on, they really, yeah.
Well, they were good friends. I mean,
they were. And they really valued each other. So, and I don't think my mom would have left your mom. She wouldn't.
So our mothers had an unusual friendship, and we had an unusual friendship.
Right.
And then we had the dad who owned plantations, and he was screwing everybody.
Yep.
Can I say that on YouTube? Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah. Why not? I don't. Yeah. Well, it's true. He did. How many people? I mean, he had probably
lot.
I heard 19. I just heard 19.
So he had plantations, and he didn't stay we lived in the city house, and he didn't really want to be bothered by my mother or me and he wanted to do his thing out there in his plantation. So that's why Cheri got to come and stay with me, and her mother got to come and stay in the city house. And then he was left to do what he wanted to do. And then, so we've also met, I'm just going to mention this one time, somebody that really doesn't like me. And we've figured out that she was the
overseer.
The overseer.
She was an overseer.
So yeah. Anyway, so just a little note.
We figured it out. What had happened was, I'll tell the story. We couldn't figure it out, so we did a journey, and I got this picture of holy shit, and I was like, I wasn't really reading her records. I was reading the records of the situation to see, what had happened. And that person was an overseer. She didn't like me, and she didn't like me because she thought I was an uppity, what, because I got treated like a member of the family,
like an equal. Yeah. A member of the family. Yeah. Cheri was.
She didn't like that. He didn't like that. Rather, Jennie found out that this person kind of went after me and told her dad, and her dad and her mom and all that, to keep the peace, got rid of him. So he was not happy because it was because of me, not his actions, but because of me. And Jennie's like, was all upset because of what happened to me, and ended up getting let go. And there's resentment for that from that life. So that was like,
my cat ball is just going off and going off and going off and going off.
So that totally,
I would say that's an affirmative.
Yeah, because I remember when I went into that, okay, I went into the Akashic records, and I asked them to explain the situation. What's the connection with us three, and why is this such an issue? Because I was involved in this whole thing too. And they showed me this picture, and I could see it till I'm here in the back part of the plantation. I was, an older teen or wherever it was, and there was trees around it, and got me into a place where you really couldn't see, and they're up on the horse and I'm down here, and I'm at a disadvantage. And so that's when they were, and so that was and it just, I was just floored at that.
So the cat balls, as you're talking, is still going off, saying, "This is right. This is right. This is right."
Wow.
So,
I mean, Jennie took care of me in that life, and her mom, but mostly Jennie.
Wow. And we took care of each other.
We did, but you know what I mean.
We took care of each other. I mean, we were really, really close.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's not the only life. But that's a very notable.
That was a notable life.
We could go back, and now we can actually trace. We can find. We have found the names. We found the cemetery where those people were buried. We found the crypt. I mean, it's just blows your mind. So what? So my next thing is like, what is the use of this? Well, the use of this is to heal the land, and to heal the souls, and heal the people, heal everything. So go, Cheri.
So when we were there, we decided that, and it came too because of the heaviness of the area, we decided that we were going to do an Akashic clearing of Savannah. And so we wrote out a whole healing prayer for Savannah. And we kind of
wrote that together. Yeah.
Yeah, we did. And so we took your basic healing that we do on the show, and we tweaked it. And so we tweaked it to Savannah. And after we thought we got it right, we went on top of the roof of the hotel we were staying at, and I did the clearing.
Yeah, she did a healing, and I have a video of it. And then we also have it written too. So we should probably somehow post that, what was written. But
yeah, I can post it.
I mean, it was just amazing. It was like healing the people that trafficked people that were my cat ball is just going off like nuts, that were Native Americans that were moved. It encompasses everybody.
Right.
People that didn't do anything.
Right.
I mean, it really encompasses everything in the land and the memories and everything. And it was.
Yeah. Let me see.
I don't even know how to describe the strength of that healing.
It was really, and it is almost like it's almost in some ways like I channeled that healing.
So she was standing on the rooftop of the hotel, and then I videoed it, and then in the background behind Cheri is a church steeple, and it's really over all of the air and over all of the land of Savannah, and it was super powerful. So maybe she can put that up, later. But we did it, and we're definitely going back.
We're definitely going back. The bad part about this whole thing is my computer kind of crashed in between the time I came home and here, and I had to reset it all. So all my stuff's all over the place. So, but it was almost like they were telling me the healing. The words came so easily. Like it didn't take us that long. I swear we channeled that.
And it was, it was just, I kept saying, so what is the reason for this? I mean, we can't just visit the past for no reason.
Right.
It has to be a reason. And then I think, we asked Val from Dragonfly Crystals, and she said, well, you're there to heal the land. And then we're like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
Yep.
And I mean, there's so many in that area. There's Native Americans that have been murdered. There's slaves that have been murdered. It's just, it's the most haunted city in the United States, and it is for a reason. A lot of people were treated horribly. A lot of people died, and then they died, and then they're just buried on top of each other. It's just, so I don't think our work there is finished.
I don't think so either. And I just had it and it disappeared off my screen.
But it was a good start.
But yeah, it definitely is a good start, and it made us really, because that's what we're trying to figure out. What is, what is the significance to all this? Because there has to be significance to all this.
Right. Defining people, when I found Cheri, it was like, I knew she was my sister. And I don't have a sister.
I don't either.
I knew she was my family. And I don't like my family in this lifetime. My family doesn't like this.
So it's a good thing that I always consider myself, I would have been your annoying little sister anyways, probably.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, we were fun. We had a lot of fun together. And in that time, the thing is going off like crazy.
There we go.
In that time, before the Civil War, during the Civil War, those were horrific times. Absolutely horrific. But even before, horrific. And so now, I mean, I think all over the world and in the United States, we're all coming back together to heal what didn't get healed before.
That's what I really kind of think it is. I mean, look at the divisiveness in this country right now, and we're bringing Civil War energy. We're healing Savannah. And a lot of that is the Civil War energy. It's the energy from when they took it over from the Native Americans, so it's all that, the combination of that initial wound of our country to the Civil War energy to now. And we're trying to heal all that. And I think that's what the key to all that is. And that's the part of history why you shouldn't forget it.
Meaning we're all back. All us light workers are back to try to heal what happened in the past. Not just me and Cheri. All of us light workers, we're back here to heal, the Civil War, the any war that we've ever had.
Right.
it's almost like we almost getting a do-over, but we have to hold the light. We have to keep ourselves full of light and strong and full of love. And
Right.
that's what's going to carry us, the earth, to the next plane.
That's what I think, because it's just it's, yeah. I really think,
again.
Right. That's what I think the purpose of all this is.
Okay, so this is what it looks like when it goes off. Okay, can I show it? I don't know if I can show it. No, wait a minute. It's not showing. It's not showing on the camera.
Okay. I found the Savannah clearing.
It's not showing. Okay. Why don't you read it?
Okay, I'm going to read the clearing that we did in Savannah. It says, we are connected to Metatron's grid. We ask...
Read slowly.
Okay. Yeah. As we connect to Metatron's grid, we ask the Akashic Record Masters to clear and release from all those who have lived, died, worked, traveled through, killed, those who were bought and sold, those who sold others into slavery, the original inhabitants that were forced off their land, those that owned slaves, those that removed the indigenous people, and those that participating in human trafficking, those that did nothing to stop it at all stages of inhumanity to humankind. All energies of all traumas at all levels have been brought forth from all past, future, and concurrent lives on all cellular levels, in all timelines, in all ancestral timelines, in all space and time, and in between time. We ask that you clear the eyes, the memories, the feelings, the emotions, and the experiences of all traumas, both known and unknown, from all cellular structures on all levels, in all timelines, in all ancestral timelines, in all time and space, and in between time, and in all lives, for the greatest good of the land now known as Savannah, Georgia, and the greatest good of all humanity. As above, so below. I ask that this shall be done. It is done. We thank our beloved Akashic Record Masters for the glorious healing they have bestowed upon this land and all humanity who have been connected to it throughout time and space. We also thank Metatron for his assistance in this endeavor. Thank you. And that's the prayer. And so that's what we think. And that's one reason we wanted to do the show, that we really think that this is an important thing that we all really should be concentrating on right now, and not the news, not the divisive nature, not all this. Yes, keep informed. That's always important to know what's going on around you. But it's really important that we heal the land, we heal the people, we heal this gaping wound of our country right now. And it does stem from its initial to the Civil War to now. All those energies are being brought forth now. And it's now that it's time where we can heal these wounds, and we can go forth and really create the country this was always, that we can create the country this was intended to be for everybody. But that has to go with, we have to acknowledge the past and then clear it and heal it for everybody.
And wherever you are, wherever you are, go out and do a healing on the land. Do a healing on the land. If you're in Washington State, if you're in Nebraska, wherever you are, go out and do a healing. And it's just an intention. You open your heart. It's an intention. You ask the Akashic Records Masters to heal the land, and it will happen.
Right. And so that's what we did. And it was really powerful. And I'll tell you, by the time we left, I felt so much lighter. It really was amazing how much lighter I felt. And, the more we shed light on this, and the more that we address it and ask for forgiveness and clearance for those, not only for those that were hurt, but those that did it too, to release those souls from everything. because, I was watching something too, which reminded me, like sometimes souls can't move on because the person here is so upset that they died, they can't move on. So sometimes when we just harbor this, even hatred or the sadness for what happened, we're holding that negative energy here.
Right.
So that's why it's really important so we can release it.
And lots of times when I'm in Savannah, I'll just walk around at night by myself and cross over the ghosts and I do it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And Susan Lynn has done it. I mean, they're there. They're kind of trapped, and there's so much there's so many hurt hearts that are
kind
of stuck.
Right.
But hopefully, maybe not so much anymore. I don't know.
Right. So I think if we all concentrated on that, just think of how much it's really going to help the situation right now. And the more we work with the energy and send the love and light, the quicker we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this in the best possible way. We're going to get through it on the highest level possible. Like we can either do this the hard way or the easy way. It's not going to be, so how do you want to do it? I prefer to do it the easy way.
So wherever you are, go out and heal the land.
Right.
And for some reason, Lakota is coming to me.
Yes.
I don't know anything about the Lakota tribe. I had know nothing about the Lakota tribe.
I think I was a Lakota once. So.
And I'm getting like Lakota. Wherever you are, it doesn't matter where you are. It could be people from...
Doesn't matter.
From Mexico. It could have been the Mexican War. It could be anywhere. Go out and ask for a healing of the land where you are.
Right. Because, everywhere has had battles. Everywhere has had, all kinds of things. What was I watching? Was it, I don't know who, I don't really watch nothing. I was listening to somebody. I don't know who was it. I don't even know because it was listening on in the background. They said some of the worst, most haunted land is battlefields and churches as far as negative energy goes. Anyone else watch that show? I don't know who it was.
No.
So think about how much negative energy is out there. Think about all the places in this world that has battlefields. Like in Europe, can you throw a cat without hitting a battlefield?
Yeah, but it's not just a battlefield. I mean, I agree with that.
And then here,
like, bring the light into your body and then send it out and ask for a healing of the land around you and near you, and send it down to Mother Earth.
Right.
Send the healing down to Mother Earth. Send the love and the light down to Mother Earth.
Like I always say, I bring it through me and then I go, whatever I don't need or the earth doesn't need, send it out to where it's going to do the greatest and the highest good. Who needs it the most? Send that energy out to wherever it's needed the most in the universe.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the wars even going on now. Send some energy to, I think a lot of us have forgotten about Ukraine. I think we really need to, maybe work on that, get some healing there. We need to work on the situation in the Middle East, all that stuff, the hot spots. Let's work on getting,
everywhere.
Yeah, getting this,
Okay. Anybody have a question?
Yeah. Okay. Questions now. So, I'm going to heal the land in Greensboro, North Carolina, and Guilford Courthouse Battleground.
Oh, my favorite aunt lived in Guilford. Oh, I love that place. Who's this? Who's that?
Yeah, the Lakotas are in the North and South Dakota.
Who said that?
The gatekeeper. Gatekeeper.
Oh, gatekeeper.
Hi, Viviani.
We got to talk.
Nice to see you too. Yeah. So, this whole country was not ours to begin with. So
we're not anything special. We're not anything
right
special, but it's like
anybody can do it.
Everybody does it.
Mm-hmm.
It'll help so much.
It's all just about intent.
Yes, it's intent.
That's all it is. And
intent. Connect to the light and intent.
Right. So wherever you are, and
you can find your past family members from your soul tribe.
Yeah, you can, because they did have a couple questions in here. Well, we know Jen Bowles, she was there, but she was on the plantation.
Yeah.
But I do think she worked with us. She kind of helped get slaves from there to here. We had a network. Let's face it, we had a network going.
Yeah. And, so I had met a person when I moved to Hilton Head Island. I met this person, and I said to one of my spiritual psychics. What is this like? What is this friendship with this person I've never met before? What is this friendship? I don't understand. And this angel said, well, this person is now a black man in this lifetime, but back then during the Civil War, he was a white man, and he was funding the Underground Railroad from Savannah. He was funding it. And he said when y'all met this time, there was an instant connection. Like when you meet somebody from another life, you don't know you don't know why, but there's an instant connection. It's almost like electricity.
Yeah, it is. It's true. And Jenny showed me the picture. And I'm like, he makes you just want to bear hug him. At least me.
I know, he's great. Yeah, he's great. But yeah, so I was like, so he used to be a white man during the Civil War, and he was really, really rich. And in this lifetime, he wanted to see what it was like to be a black man. And he's a great black man. He just makes everybody happy.
Yeah. Oh, Gatekeeper has it. I would love to know if you can look at history through the Akashic records. Yeah.
Well, I think so.
Yeah. I mean, you can't look at a person's without their permission, but you can say, look, and you can't look at someone's house if you don't own it, but you can look at public land. You can look at different things. You can, it depends on the energy, on whether you have the right to. I mean, because if you're on a battlefield that's a public land, you can go into the records for that land. You can go into records for a situation or that, but you can't really go into a person's without their permission or.
I think that everything has a record.
It does have a record. It's just whether you're allowed to have the permission to go into the records. If it's a public thing, yes. If it's private, no, unless you have the permission of the owner.
Right.
So that's a yes and no.
No, agree with that.
But by reading,
not that we know everything. Sorry.
Right. By reading the records, the wonderful thing about reading the records, which I found, I don't know about you, is that you learn so much about history through other people.
The wonderful thing about the records to me is you can heal through the Akashic Records Masters.
Yes, you can
it's
heal.
all about healing. Mm-hmm. That's what I love so much.
I mean, I always saw things real gray before, but I see things even more muted gray since I started reading the records. There really is no black and white most of the time. I think. For the most part, when you start reading people's records that you think are an enemy in a war, and you see it's not cut and dry, and they're not
cut and dry. No,
it's so not cut and dry. It's so a multitude of gray. Some are closer to black, some are closer to white, but it's all a multitude of gray. Very few people are black and white when it comes to history as far as energy goes.
But it was really, really great being with Cheri. Really great.
It was. We had a great time.
And then we came back, and then she was here for another 3 or 4 days after our trip. And I was just dead. I was but I didn't want her to leave. 9 days. Anybody else, I would have said, get the heck out of here. It was wonderful. And, she did her thing and I did my thing, and she let me sleep, and we rested, and it was really, really, really wonderful.
We did.
I can't say enough good things about it. And she was sleeping on my sofa. I only have one bathroom, and I said, well, if I'm in the bathroom, you need to go to the bathroom. There is a bathroom down the hall, but we shared the space really, really well, and she's very easy to get along with.
Yeah, so is Jenny, though. Well, the thing is, we respect each other. We don't have to be glued at the hip. We're adults. We can do each,
I don't want to be with somebody that wants me to be with them 24/7, because I really can't do that.
I have a husband, and I had 4 kids and grandkids. Trust me. So I'm good. Yeah, I like my own alone time. Let's see. I heard that everyone's Akashic records looks different. Do you mean once they're record masters? Everybody's Akashic record masters are unique to themselves, and how you view your own Akashic records is unique to you. They show you in a way you understand.
Yeah.
And some Akashic record masters are more matter of fact. Some have a great sense of humor. Mine are like major smart. Everyone that has ever read mine says, God, mine are funny or are smart asses. I think Linda said that too. Mine are, they are so funny. It's not funny. But everybody
a lot of them are funny. And
a lot of them are.
I don't know, in my experience, some of them have been people that you knew, in past lives.
One of mine is.
Some people, sometimes it happens. I don't know everything, but in my opinion, in my experience, some of them I have known before. And then, you don't know that for sure. And then they start saying things and you're like, that sounds so familiar. Like, so I do have at least one that I lived another life with.
Right. It's almost like they know you so well. And it's almost like they're the ones in some ways that are closest to you in your my masters.
They've lived lives with us. They're not like ascended masters I take that back. There's not like guides that haven't lived before. These are people who have lived with you.
Right, they have. Oh yeah, blessed honey. Is this where I was the grandma? Yeah, this is where she was the grandma.
Oh yeah, that was where you're the grandma.
That was where you were the grandma.
Yeah. Yep. You were grandma. And I really loved you. I really, really loved you. Because when we were doing your reading, I could feel all the love in my heart. I'm like, I love her so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah, so that was
that would be yeah.
So can a place like
grandma? So you were the mother of our father or our mother. We don't know which.
I think it was the father. I thought it was the father. But I could be wrong. But I don't remember now, to be honest.
So we do believe that our father, the plantation owner, was a slave trader.
Yeah,
and he actually would go on a ship and come back.
He's on the slave trade records.
Yeah, so he's a slave trader. He wasn't just buying slaves; he was going.
I think he had 19 slave children. And that number came to me when someone said something, and I said something about he was prolific, and I heard 19. So I think that's them telling me he could have had up to 19 kids. Maybe not all might have not been known.
So, wow. So that's really interesting about the grandmother, because there was a lot of people that lived in that house, and we don't know everybody that lived in the house, but it makes sense that the grandmother would have lived in the house too.
Right.
Where else would she have lived?
Right.
She would have lived in the house.
Or at least in one of the houses, yeah.
And there's a lot of people there.
A lot of people come through. There was a lot of wives, a lot of kids, a lot of
yeah, there was like 4 or 5 wives?
Right. And the property was divided into, and there's another house next to it that belonged to the house. And I think there was probably other things. So, it's a bit convoluted now to look back, and we've just started our investigation too, to be honest. So it is, but yeah, I did find his name in the slave there. You can go online, and Savannah has a lot of information, because that was like ground, and Charleston too for the slave.
I'm not sure you want to say that name though.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going back.
It is public record, but
it is public. Well, that's what the name of the document is. Mm-hmm. And it lists the ships, and it listed who had them coming in and who was buying and who was selling. And, Savannah is really trying to open up their records so people understand the depths of what had happened. Like, they're trying to, I think in some ways, come to terms with it a little bit, because they're really starting to put some of this stuff online so people really see how big of a thing it was.
Well, a lot of the records that I was reading about the house, they were filled out by people who were a part of the Savannah College of Art and Design, and they're the people that are doing the historical records.
Right.
And
this was
together, but this was,
Yeah, this one was when I looked at
historians.
Yeah, it was what's the name of the document if you want to there's a document here that past lives. It's called Papers of the American Slave Trade. And it's like a 300 and some page document of slaves and that were traded and the names of ships and the times they came over and, stuff like that. So there's a lot of that stuff now is starting to come online for, but you could just see it's just so immense. I mean, to see this, the gravity of it is just so, I can't even explain it. And to me, it was just like,
and that goes to the Caribbean. It goes to the French Caribbean, the English Caribbean, and it's not just Africa.
No, my mom was Caribbean.
And
the thing is that in some names you see over and over, like these people importing these men and women and children, you see their name over and over and over. I can't even describe how I felt, but it needs to be told. It needs to be brought to light. People need to understand the injustices that went on so we don't do it again and we can heal.
So there is a tour in Savannah about the Underground Railroad.
I want to do that next time.
We didn't do that, but next time we're doing it. It was so hot. We could barely do what we did.
Right. But that one's a little bit more expensive and it's like a 3-hour one, but everyone says it's super good. But I definitely want to do that one next time.
Yeah, we're definitely doing that.
It's a walking tour. So I want to do that next time we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. And but Charleston is connected to South Carolina, was like ground central for that. So I think we really need to maybe do some healing on Charleston, because that was where most of them were brought into, was Charleston.
I would agree with that.
So I think that should be our next healing for the city when I come back.
Okie dokie. Well, it's 8:00. I think.
Yeah. Oh, she said, I feel my son was your father. Yeah, that's what I think. I think it was she was our father's mother. That's what I thought.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that how I know you? Through slavery and the Underground Railroad, where I used to live in Rhode Island. I was one of the largest ports for enslaved people coming to this continent. I don't know. Maybe. I know there's probably some type of connection there. It's funny that you say that, Sally. I was just thinking, I wonder how I know Sally. I was thinking maybe galactic, but I don't know.
Is that Sally?
Sally.
Where Sally?
Yeah. Well, I plan on making my way down there sometime this winter. So.
Our Sally. We love you, Sally. We love you.
Bristol, Rhode Island.
You don't think of the Underground Railroad as being on the water that far north.
But it was.
I think it was. It
was in Ohio, too. Ohio was really big in the Underground Railroad.
Ohio was big time Underground Railroad. Big time. Up through Maryland, Ohio, Pennsylvania. I never really thought about Rhode Island, actually, but that makes sense.
Well, yeah, right up into Canada.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
And they probably went right over the Great Lakes, too. Maybe that's why the Great Lakes mean.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I ended up if I could pass.
I don't know. I used to be a pirate, too, so.
Yeah, she used to be a pirate. So, okay, well, I guess I know we didn't really get to any readings or anything, but I'm going to be back on Thursday for readings. And I think at 2, providing, and I did put a disclaimer in there. My house is up for sale. So anytime I have a show until it's sold are subject to change at short notice. So if they do change, that is why. So I'm not sure. And me and Jenny are going to be coming back again. I'm not sure when. We haven't set up a time.
Well, I hope everybody enjoyed our story.
Right. I hope everybody enjoyed our story. Slavery importing. I know that Charleston was really big in the importation of it, too. That was like the biggest.
Savannah and Charleston. I think Savannah was bigger, but.
It was, yeah. And but we'll have to go in that and see. So, so I hope everybody enjoyed it, and we'll be back. And next time we'll just do readings, and we'll do some Akashic readings next time. So save your questions about your past lives, and we'll see how many people we can connect with.
Yeah.
Because there must be I think there's an ulterior motive too for us doing these readings and all these people in our chats. It's amazing how much family we found.
Yeah, I know. It's really wonderful.
It is, isn't it? I think it's awesome. So, well, everyone have a good night. Try to stay cool. Bye, everybody. Love you all. Let me see.